Hello there, how's it going everybody? In this tutorial, we will continue our tables. In the previous lecture, I showed you what is a relational database and what is non-relational database. And I said relational database completely contains these tables. And in this lecture, I want to show you one real-world example of this table. You can see here, guys, I have table, and we said what is column and what is row. This age, surname, name, and ID are my columns. And here I have actually 6 rows. And according to this ID, you can see here, Bob, I have ID 1, and name is Bob, surname Peter, and age 12. ID number 2 is Harry Long and 23. ID number 3 Larry John and 34. You can see this is basic table that I created. And this is the most common example for tables, real world example. So guys, we talked about columns and we talked about these rows, and I can add here whatever I want. For example, I can add here so many columns, I can add here so many rows. Let me add here one column and let me show you. For example, I will come here and I will just write 7 because after 6 we have 7. I will just write here Mary, and as a surname I will just write John. Okay, you can see Mary John, and I will write here age 88, just a basic age. You can see I wrote here new ID, and this became my new row. And I can add here columns, but I will not show you adding here columns, because for adding here columns we need to write SQL codes. But for now you don't know what is SQL codes. This example completely explain relational databases, because relational databases contains tables, and that's what table is. Okay guys, you can see this is my ID column, name column, surname and age column, and here I have 7 rows. You can add here new rows, or you can add here new columns. And guys, after each changes, you need to come here, you need to click apply, and you need to click this. You can see SQL script was successfully applied to the database. Okay, this is my table. And guys, by the way, for creating this table, I used 2 different data types or variables. In the next lecture, we will talk about what is a variable, what is data type, but in this lecture, let me show you what I used. I used 2 different kinds of data types. One of them is varchar and one of them is integer. When I write here 1, you can see this is number and this is integer. Or when I write here age, this is also integer, because all numbers in the SQL or in the MySQL called integer. And I wrote here name and surname. All string of text in the SQL are called varchar.